Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Investor Fuel podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone I've been looking forward to chatting with, Scott Snofke, who's been making serious moves in the printing and real estate space. So Scott, I'm really glad to have you here. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you're approaching your business. So let's dive in. First off, just for people who are not familiar with your world yet, would love to hear the short version of what your main focus is these days.
So we're with REI Printmail. The thing that really sets us apart inside of the industry is we're tracking everything we do. We kind of have a done-for-you service. So as a senior direct marketing coach, I sit down with a potential client that's looking for real estate investment properties throughout the nation, and I walk them through how to pull a list, how to cultivate that list into find the targets that they want, whether it's through one of our data sets or even their data sets. We have our hands at about 15 different data sets across the nation. And we track the KPIs through our direct mail. And how we do that is with our call center. We'll screen and filter, and then that feeds back into the KPI tracking. So we know what's a qualified lead, how many inbound calls we have, how many of those were first-time callers. And we can sit back and analyze what the mail is doing and also what the list is doing. So we can track, multiple list providers at one time. We can track multiple different pieces of mail at one time to know what's going to generate the best response in the area. And then we just help our clients just walk through as an extension of their marketing department to, find what's working where. This is a pretty simple answer to that.
Yeah. And are there any specific markets that you're operating in?
We're coast to coast, nationwide. We cover, the continental U.S., Alaska and Hawaii, and then what we can do with that is, since we are covering those areas, we know prior to what they're currently, responding to, what style of list, and then even if we're getting into the list of, we'll subdivide that list into, if you're looking for flips, you're looking for buy and holds, you're looking for wholesale deals or wholetail or listings, we can cultivate that list to fit the parameters of those styles of disposition.
Yeah, love that. So what caught my attention was about the way that you've been able to create something different in the industry and unique for the clients, whether that's like this new metric with your lists and the managing of the multiple markets, which is not easy. So I would just love to hear how you've been managing to keep that machine really running smoothly.
It all comes down to KPIs. They're simply the lights inside of the industry. If you walk through your house in the dark, you're going to stub your toe, step on something. If you turn the lights on, you're going to, be able to maneuver in and out of your house, or, subject to, other markets. You're going to be able to maneuver in and out of those by knowing, one, what's working, what they're responding to, what style of properties, the demographics of the properties you're targeting. By cultivating that first list of targets, the better that is, the better that's going to create your response rate. And we're using several different levels of AI to make sure that we can pull a wider list, find the parameters that other people potentially are missing, and then let the AI bring it back into a targeted list to find who's more likely to sell. So then we can have it scored data and, make it a little bit more efficient, because, there's nothing more expensive than direct mail done wrong.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
It can get, very pricey very fast. So what we try to focus on is, by utilizing the KPIs, we know what's working, and we take that into your market to repeat that process. And then we continue to track that and tweak and tune, say, hey, this zip code here is really working really well. Finding your property this zip code's not. So let's remove that, so we can pivot pretty quickly and, move in and out of that particular market to help them. And then also we help people find other markets if they're going virtual. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing. Now, I know that in business, there's always moments where things get real. Maybe something went sideways or you had to pivot fast. Would you mind sharing one of those moments for you?
Well, one of the things inside of what we do with our owner, Jeff Charlton, is we're customer based. One, if you call us, you're going to speak to a live person. You're not going to get a VA overseas, or, you're not, going to be dropping you in your list and doing all of that stuff yourself. You're going to be sending me the list or sending my project manager the list. So, we're very hands-on. Does slow the process down, but at the time of being hands-on, there are mistakes that are being made sometimes. And in those mistakes, we own them. If it's our fault, full refund. If it's not our fault, sometimes we still, we want your success. So in finding that success, sometimes, we put a little skin in the game. Even if it's not our fault, we want you to be successful. If a number was, misread inside of a proof, even though it was sent, we still take, that's still our responsibility too. So we don't just leave you hanging out there. We don't want anybody ever walking away mad. So therefore, we will lean into the client, figure out where the pain was if something did go sideways, and then fix that. Ultimately, we're successful based off of our client's success rate. If they're not successful, what are they going to do? They're going to fire us. If they are successful, they're going to continue to use us and then tell their friends. That's our simple philosophy is knowing what's working where, how to utilize that, how to implement it into our clients' buy box, and then grow them from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't talk about that stuff enough.
Right.
And it really separates the ones that are just dabbling in the industry and the ones that are really here for that longer term vision.
Right. And we're highly customer driven. It's one of those that, we work, with either directly with the customer. If he's a single operator, we'll work with the customer's team. We communicate very well. We try to get back, to somebody within 24 hours. Does it always happen? No. But at the same time, we're leaning into that client to find them the most success, building out lists, custom lists, and constantly finding what's working, utilizing when we come across a piece that is working in this area, coming back to the client and say, hey, we just tested this. They brought these numbers back in this area. I recommend this will do really well in the same demographic. So, it's not, hey, client calls us and says, what's working, what's, coming to us to try to figure that stuff out. A lot of times we're going to the client to say, hey, we're seeing these changes inside of the industry. We have, we can set up monthly review calls, or we can set them up quarterly, whatever fits customly, the customizable to that client or what they want to see.
Yeah, that's great. So let me ask you this. What are you most focused on solving or scaling next? Like, what is that next real goal for you?
We're pretty simple. It's always trying to find the best data. Where is missing data, incomplete data? Where is the data that is other people are overlooking? Because data is a real finicky little beast. Is if I go on stage in San Antonio, Texas, and I talk about how good Smart is in front of a bunch of newbies that are pulling their own data in that. Well, what happens is they if I do a good job, they're all going to go to Smart. They're going to buy that. They're all going to be on the similar data sets because they're going to pull that same data. Well, as we funnel competition in, we bring response rates down or deal flow down. So one of the things we're really good at is through KPIs of knowing inside of just what we do inside of these walls, and then talking at presentations and tracking with the KPIs to know what data sets are providing the best in what markets. Because data is so finicky that most people think, oh, it's just all of the court records and they get them all at this point. Well, the problem is you got First American Title and CoreLogic, which are data processing companies, Atom and Dark Horse and or Black Horse, I don't remember the other ones, that all take the data from the county records to here. Well, they have their own idea how to do that. So all of them get something a little bit different. And then you have the PropStream, Smart Data's, DataFlick, 80/20 REI, all of these other data companies that are data filtering companies that take this data, which has already been processed once. So now we're into the game of telephone.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So whoever comes out this end is going to have a slightly different set of data. And what we found is only about 60 to 70% of that data actually matches. So you're having 30 to 40% of that data per company that doesn't even match. So that's why when we started stacking data companies on top of stacking lists. So everybody's heard of list stacking, where you have your tired landlords, your pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, your niche list. You have all of these, vacant lists. You stack them all together to remove the duplicates. Now we do that with data companies also, because every data company isn't created equal everywhere. Somebody that uses data in St. Louis, where we're based, is going to be based off of how those county records report. Well, certain states don't even report bedrooms and bathrooms. Other ones don't report years built. So that filter could be broken, and certain spots are not working because the data inside of that list is incomplete, or that's not being reported. So they don't know how the filter doesn't know how to filter that. It just eliminates lots of properties. So we sit down, teach people how to utilize the data, what's best in their area, also to test which other data companies they could potentially use, and then put it on a certain piece of mail. We stay inside of mail just because it's the most legal, most ethical, and it's attached to the property that you want. It's attached to the building that you want to buy. So let's go target them directly at their house. Take that billboard from the side of the road and put it in their mailbox. Create curiosity.
Yeah, that's really important. And yeah, that next move can really compound things or
Right.
create chaos, depending how you play.
Right. And it's one of the things that, once you get inside of the mailbox, it's all about generating, trust and curiosity coming out of the box. If you have a postcard, you're trying to get that quick, fast, red rate in a hurry, get your offer out to them. However, whatever messaging you want that to be read quickly before the trash can, or catch their attention enough that you're not thrown away. And then if you want that longer read rate, you want to disguise it a little bit more, inside of a tax document or a check, or, a personal letter, or handwritten fonts, things like that, to get past the trash can, get inside of the house to get that longer read rate where they sit down. But now where are you? You're in their house. You're at a place of trust. So that's why direct mail works so well. If the data set's good, direct mail can curate some of the best leads inside of the industry, because you're in their house, you're in a place of trust. They don't necessarily think that they're going to get scammed through the mailbox. Not that we're trying to scam anybody, but it's, we're trying to get in and get that red rate to generate that inbound call, to where cold calling and texting and some of these things, the internet, people know that they can be scammed through that. So they're very hesitant, and it takes longer to cultivate those leads. A lot of times with direct mail, they'll call in and be like, yeah, I'm ready to sell. I like your offer here. And then all you're doing is basing that offer that you sent out on their property in today's condition, in today's market. So then you just have a little bit of a talk track to say, hey, in today's condition, this offer would stand, but you have a couple repairs that we need to talk about. So then now you're basing it off of their property in today's condition, today's market, and giving them an evaluation of that. And a lot of times it's just coming in with knowledge. People don't understand that they can sell their house in 200 different ways nowadays. It was all a realtor and a bank before. And now it's, you can subject to it. You can, trade it in like you trade your car in. There's so many different ways. And people in this day, things are moving so fast that time and effort is very valuable. People, they will trade their house in instead of listing it, because they don't want people coming through their house. They don't want people coming in and touring it. They don't want to leave and then have to come back. They don't want to have to clean it repetitively. They're like, well, what will you give it to me today? It's grown so much in the market. The house is worth, 30% more than what it was 5 years ago. So if it's grown that and it's an inherited property, they're like, hey, we're out of state, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So it's just one of those things that, is blossoming, that there's other ways to sell their house than a realtor and a bank and have all the headaches and the hassles.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that a lot of people listening to this are either earlier in their journey or they're just looking to level up. And I think that it would really benefit them from hearing this. When it comes to building relationships and growing your network, what do you feel has made the biggest difference for you?
It's a personal touch. It's one that, with us, you get free coaching. So I highly recommend, you find us reiprintmail.com, or you can catch me at scott.reiprintmail.com. And, you get a free conversation or, consultation of your market and how to scale and grow, and what it would look like to implement direct mail, or what it would look like just to learn how to build a list. I mean, as that person's getting started into the industry, one of the hardest things to do is all of a sudden you're looking at 150,000, actually I think it's 154 million people inside of the United States or homes. And then, it's like, well, how do I target my area? What am I even looking for? You've gone and sat in front of all of these gurus that tell you how to do it, but until you actually go to do it, you're like, oh, this can be a little overwhelming.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So it's nice to have somebody in your corner that's going to walk you through it and then say, okay, because oftentimes, somebody will come in and say, hey, I want to send 500 pieces. And it's one you're going to get maybe a call on. And if you want more calls, handwritten font, do it yourself, you're going to spend about as much money, because by the time we set up and break down your job, we do it individually, very custom. So, it's going to cost us more. You're going to be able to do it more efficiently yourself. And we'll tell you that. And we'll tell you, hey, go on our site, look at the messaging, pick and choose what you want. We'll talk you through what they're currently responding to. And then in doing that, now you're kind of getting started. You're kind of rolling in, and then you're practicing it at a cheaper rate. And then once you close a deal or two, then all of a sudden pull some of that money back for your marketing. Now you can step into what goes really good with direct mail is PPL and PPC, mostly PPL, because you can buy leads as you go. And then you close a couple of those deals and you start to scale. And we'll walk you through that process of how to grow into direct mail, because by far it's not cheap. It has the best ROI, but it also is a pay to play. So you have to buy that stuff up front and then work the deal. So oftentimes we see failure at the people that come in at the minimum. Typically, we recommend to try to do a deal a month, and in every every city is a little bit different. You have your primary cities like Charlotte and Atlanta and most of the Floridas and New York and Texas, Dallas, San Antonio and Houston. You have all of these major cities, they're your primaries. Well, it's going to cost, between $5,000 and $7,000 per deal there, but a deal's worth 40. So your ROI is still there. Compared to you get into like the secondary markets like St. Louis and Indianapolis and Columbus and in that you're going to get down around that 5,000 piece per mailer, 5,000 mailers per campaign to find a deal. And then you get into smaller markets like say Columbia, Missouri and Texarkana and Temple, Texas, and all of these tertiary markets where the response rate's going to go up. But anytime response rates are really good, disposition is very difficult. So that's where you want to bring in cash buyers. And we can even sit down with you and build out a cash buyers list, show you what you're looking for in your market, how to evaluate that, because there's nothing better than a good cash buyers list to tell you who's operating in your market, how many properties they're actively buying, what they're buying, when they're buying it, and then how they're buying it, so you see all of that information, so you know exactly how they're operating. So we can also show you all of that inside of that data set.
Yeah, that relationship building piece is very important.
Right. And we love to start with, there's nothing more, I have clients that started with $1,000 budget a month that are now sending out, 10, 12, 15,000. I've had clients that start at 10,000 and are sending out 100,000 now. And in every little market, one of the things we're good here at REI Printmail is there's 16 of us direct marketing coaches, but we're all in-house. And being all in-house, we're able to step up and walk outside and say, hey, who's in Kansas City, Kansas? What are you sending? What are your response rates? What data set are you on? So we can get around that, because you can send the two people on the exact same data set, but they might be buying different things. So their data is actually different. You can send them on the same thing with their buying the exact same thing, but send out different messages, because people will respond to a check sometimes different than they'll respond to a handwritten letter. Or a handwritten letter even with an offer. So you're catching, out of 1,000 people that you're mailing to, typically industry standards about a 0.5% response rate. So you're getting, 5 calls out of 1,000. If we can beat that, then at that time we're looking at 6 or 7 or 8 calls out of that 1,000. But if you're sending different pieces, you're going to generate 5 or 6 calls over here with these guys because we caught them on a Wednesday. These guys might have landed on a Friday. Too many times people get stuck on, same list, same piece, same everything. Half the industry is stealing pieces from, the other half of the industry that's creating them. So, we often see other companies out there that are sending our identical mail pieces, that they're saying they're the cheapest way to go, but they're not putting time and effort doing any research and developing. They're not going to come up with the next new piece. All they're going to do is save you up front on the piece that worked 6 months ago. But it changes so fast, and I bet we probably come up with a new piece every 2 to 3 weeks, that we have out there and testing with some of the biggest in the industry. They get special pricing on the testing, but, they also give us the feedback on the KPIs to tell us if it's working or not. So, we're there on the front lines creating and generating new pieces, and then we're tracking all of that to bring it to the people that need it the most, because they just they're on a strict budget, they're deal to deal, so they're kind of like paycheck to paycheck. So we try to help them by bringing knowledge to the table, and that's one of the we're probably one of the only ones that's tracking everything we're doing through KPIs, so we know what's working where and how. So that value add and that knowledge coming to the table is we found to be very successful with our clients.
Yeah, that value is really important.
Mhm.
All right. So before we wrap up, if someone wants to reach you, connect with you, collaborate, learn more about you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
It's pretty simple, scott.reiprintmail.com. That's going to direct link to my calendar. And then, if you can't find that, just go to reiprintmail.com. You can book a meeting through that. You can look at all of our mail pieces. Pretty simple. Click Start Campaign, enter a quantity. Click I already have a list, and you can look at all of the different mail pieces that are out there, postcards, unique mailers, or anything that we put inside of an envelope. But the messaging is simple. Is, hey, we're here to buy your house, but each little piece creates different curiosities. Some pieces worked, 5 or 6 years ago. Some pieces work in a tertiary market. They don't work in a primary. That's why I recommend to book a call, because we're going to sit down with you and analyze your market directly. And in doing so, you're just going to have more knowledge of how to attack your market, what it's going to take to generate consistent deal flow. Like I said, we typically like to do a deal a month, and it runs cash conversion cycle on direct mails anywhere from 90 to 120 days. So you're going to want to have that budget, set up for, about 3 to 4 months. Usually if we come in on the minimum, we see failure at about 3 to 4 months. If we happen to miss that deal, there's too many title issues or something. And we kind of missed out on that deal. And we play on the law of averages. You might get 3 deals on your first 3 phone calls, no deals on your next 300 phone calls. It's inbound marketing. The people are calling you. They're going to call you when you're ready. But the beauty of direct mail is they're going to call you in a year, 2 years. The longest right now I think we have in the office is 4 years, 4 months from a direct mail piece. And with that tracking number, we know exactly where it came from.
Perfect. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. We really need more people in this space who are doing things in this right way.
Right.
So thank you for being here. And for those of you tuning in, if you got value from this, make sure you're subscribed. We've got more conversations coming with operators just like Scott who are out here building real businesses. So we'll see you all on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.